What's up, everybody, and welcome to Read the Bible with me. I am Stan Jr., and today we're looking at chapter 12 of the book of 1 Kings. If you're new here, go ahead and click subscribe to this channel and turn on your notification bell. And if you're a Bible Club member, go ahead and click like on this video and leave a comment below. I have to say thank you for all of your donations. You allow us to send Bibles to people that are persecuted and living in places where they cannot get their own Bibles. And so we will have to be there for them. And so this ministry sends Bibles as well as missionaries to spread and preach the gospel in places that you'll never be able to go. And so thank you for that. If you'd like to become a Bible Club member, click the link in my description or just ask for help in the comment sections and I'll be glad to help you. Chapter 12, verse 1. Let's get reading. Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel had come to Shechem to make him king. And as soon as Jeroboam the son of Nebat heard of it, for he was still in Egypt where he had fled from King Solomon, then Jeroboam returned from Egypt. And they sent and called him. And Jeroboam and all the assembly of Israel came and said to Rehoboam, Your father made your yoke heavy. Now therefore, Now therefore, lighten the hard service of your father and his heavy yoke on us, and we will serve you. He said to them, Go away for 3 days, then come again to me. So the people went away. Then King Rehoboam took counsel with the old men, who had stood before Solomon his father while he was yet alive, saying, How do you advise me to answer this people? And they said to him, If you will be a servant to this people today, and serve them, and speak good words to them when you answer them, then they will be your servants forever. But he abandoned the counsel that the old men gave, and took counsel with the young men, who he had grown up with him and stood before him. And he said to them, What do you advise that we answer this people who have said to me, Lighten the yoke that your father put on us? And the young men who had grown up with him said to him, Thus shall you speak to the people who said to you, Your father made our yoke heavy, but you lighten it for us. Thus shall you say to them, My little finger is thicker than my father's thigh. And now, whereas my father laid on you a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father disciplined you with whips, but I will discipline you with scorpions. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam on the 3rd day. As the king said, Come to me again and on the 3rd day. And the king answered the people harshly. And forsaking the counsel that the old men had given him, he spoke to them according to the counsel of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add to your yoke. My father disciplined you with whips, but I will discipline you with scorpions. So the king did not listen to the people, for it was a turn of affairs brought by the Lord, that he might fulfill his word, which the Lord spoke to Ahijah the Shilonite, to Jeroboam the son of Nebat. And when all Israel saw that the king did not listen to them, the people answered the king, What portion do we have in David? We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel. Look now to your own house, David. So Israel went to their tents, but Rehoboam reigned over the people of Israel, who lived in the cities of Judah. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was taskmaster over the forced labor, and all Israel stoned him to death with stones. And King Rehoboam hurried to mount his chariot to flee Jerusalem. So Israel has been in rebellion against the house of David in this day. And when all Israel heard that Jeroboam had returned, they sent and called him to the assembly and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David but the tribe of Judah only. And Rehoboam came to Jerusalem. He assembled all the house of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, to restore the kingdom to Rehoboam the son of Solomon. But the word of the Lord came to Shemaiah, the man of God. Say to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the rest of the people, thus says the Lord, you shall not go up or fight against your relatives, the people of Israel. Every man return to his home, for this thing is from me. So they listened to the word of the Lord and went home again according to the word of the Lord. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and lived there. And he went out from there and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now the kingdom will turn back to the house of David. If this people go up and offer sacrifices to the temple of the Lord at Jerusalem, then the heart of his people will turn again to their Lord, to Rehoboam king of Judah, and they will kill me and return to Rehoboam king of Judah. So the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and he said to the people, you have gone up to Jerusalem long enough. Behold your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. And he sent one to Bethel, and the other he put in Dan. Then this thing became a sin, for the people went as far as Dan to be before one. He also made temples on high places and appointed priests from among all the people who were not of the Levites. And Jeroboam appointed a feast on the 15th day of the 8th month, like the feast that was in Judah, and he offered sacrifices on the altar. So he did in Bethel, sacrificing to the calves that he made. And he placed in Bethel the priest of the high places that he had made. He went up to the altar that he had made in Bethel on the 15th day in the 8th month, in the month that he had devised from his own heart. And he instituted a feast for the people of Israel, and went up to the altar to make offerings. Not good. They're at war, the kingdom is split, and now there's idolatry and idol worship. And so we have to be very careful with seeing how the turn of events happen. In a person's life, it may start with an argument in church, or an argument with another brother or sister in the Lord. And then from that point, the split happens, and then you can't hear from each other. And then you go and you forsake the church maybe, and you choose things that are man-made to fulfill your lack of spirituality in your life, or the void of God, and you can't fill it. So we keep filling it with other material things made by man's hands and women's hands, so that we replace God with what is created rather than worshiping the Creator. And so this stuff can happen fast if we don't notice it and pay attention to it. That was chapter 12 of the book of 1 Kings. Thank you so much for reading with me. Next time I see you, we'll be reading chapter 13 of the book of 1 Kings. Peace.